She wants my baby to call her mom. Trigger warning, mention of miscarriage, bleeding, emotional abuse, attempted suicide, depression and death of parent. My mother-in-law, 57F, told me she wants my 25F unborn child to call her mom. Her reasoning, I am more important to my son than you. There's only one thing you can give him that I can't. She also insists that she can have a baby too if she wanted. I'm not special for being pregnant. This makes no sense to me, but she's batshit crazy to me at this point. She genuinely believes that I stole her son from her and don't deserve to have my own child refer to me as mom. Update 1. We've been married for almost 4 years now. I would have responded to your comments and advice, but my life fell apart. Trigger warning ahead. She has officially won. I was at 14 weeks and had a very bad fall where I landed on my belly. She put her stuff all over our living room floor to store it here for some reason and I tripped on the mess. I began miscarrying 20 minutes later. She was here when it happened and knew it was happening. I was texting, calling, crying, yelling from the bathroom to get his attention. He came in, saw that I had blood overflowing from my shorts and said he urgently needed to help his mom. He left. I went through the brunt of miscarriage. Myself, I held the remains in my hands. I begged him over text to come to the bathroom and help me. To hold me to go through this with me. He finally came in a half hour later and saw the blood everywhere. I'm anemic and couldn't stand anymore. He made a comment about how it was going to be a lot to clean up. So I tossed off my clothes, climbed into the shower, and bled there. I asked him to buy me large pads and said I'd clean the mess. He came back half an hour later with the pads and kept explaining that his mom needed him. They knew I was miscarrying, but she needed help moving things and it was urgent. She was outside when I cleaned up the bathroom and went to the kitchen for food. I was weak and struggling. She didn't make eye contact with me or talk to me at all. Probably because she knew she had won. She took my husband away from me during the most traumatic point of my life and he went willingly. I feel so lost. He spent the night at his mom's house and left me alone. He isn't back yet. I've been alone with his kids from a different relationship, who he only gets to see 1 3-day weekend a month. He hasn't texted me and I haven't reached out either. I don't know why I wasn't important to him, why the miscarriage wasn't urgent, why he didn't want to hold me. Why he won't come home. I'm so lost and alone and my heart is broken. She's probably celebrating while I'm mourning. Update 2. I ended up discharged from the hospital after 24 hours and he still wasn't home. I confided in my family and they booked me a ticket home. They were horrified that this had happened, and a little hurt that I didn't reach out when it was happening for help. I don't know why it didn't occur to me. I packed my things and flew to them. He still hadn't responded to my texts, voicemails, or calls, so I left him a handwritten note. A few days after being with my family, I get a very long text from him. He said that he had to stay with his mother for the entire week after I had miscarried in our home. Basically because of her, and get this folks, she felt triggered by my miscarriage and needed his emotional support. He argued that she needed him as she and his father are divorced. During this time, he didn't want to bring me up to further cause her distress, so he went no contact with me for a week. He said he thought I was strong enough to wait for him. He thinks I've overreacted by flying home. He wants me to come home. I took your advice, folks. I prepared for his shitty excuse and didn't let him manipulate me. I called and told him that when his mother had miscarried after he was born, she had her own husband to comfort her. While my husband left me alone and ignored me for a whole week. I told him everything you guys mentioned. It was medical neglect during a crisis, child abandonment of his own kids, my stepkids, who were supposed to be under his care, and abandonment. I could have died and was very weak when I had checked into the hospital. I was even weak when I left. I told him I needed space to heal. I was finally getting emotional support from my family and am in a safe place. I'm not ready to see him. He said that he is her only son, he had to help her. I reminded him that he was my only husband and I needed him. The miscarriage was happening to me, not her. He asked me if we were still good. Absolutely not. I was blunt and told him I didn't see our relationship repairing after what he did. His actions will haunt me for years. I cry myself to sleep every night. I miss my baby and marriage, both of them died the same day. I haven't filed, but I plan on filing for divorce when I'm ready for it. He is upset. He cried and told me I was being overly emotional because of the loss. That I wasn't in my right mind and said he'd fly out to see me and bring me home. I put my parents on the phone and let them chew him out. I don't know what they said, but he hasn't called since. He's texted a few times, but I haven't responded. I know it isn't a happy update, but I wanted everyone to know that I'm safe now. Mil can keep her son. She hasn't contacted me at all since this all happened and it's been a blessing. I've heard from mutual friends that she is blasting me to everyone over social media, but I'm going to stay out of it for my own peace of mind. Thank you so much for caring about me and taking the time to reply and send messages with support. Update 3. My parents told him off when he first called and told him not to contact me again. He has since sent me lots of texts and voicemails. They alternate between reminding me of good memories, blaming me for what happened, being angry at me for not taking him back / responding, and apologizing. I feel bad dragging my parents, in the first time, so I haven't told them about these messages. I haven't responded but have read every text and heard every voicemail. I can't bring myself to block him. He's posted on social media saying he misses me and is waiting for me to come home. The post insinuates a LDR and not that we aren't together. A week ago, a neighbor, this is my childhood home, recognized him waiting outside our home and called the police. He left before they came. It made me so anxious and afraid. I am always worried that he'll be outside and peek through my window to make sure he's not. But I honestly do miss him and am still dealing with heartbreak. I loved him with all of my being, and it's taking time to come to terms with what transpired and how he treated me. It's brought up memories of other times he wasn't kind or considerate, other instances where he put others, mostly his mom, before me. I realize I was brushing off a lot of red flags. His ex has reached out a few times, the kids had a visit with their dad and it was unusual for me to not be there. I didn't respond. His mom has never reached out to me, which makes me happy and angry. Personally, life has been tough. I see pregnant women and cry. I still have my pregnancy app and it updates me on the fruit size of the baby each week and little facts. I can't bring myself to delete it. I'm so anxious about the due date I had and how it's approaching. I have covered all the mirrors in my space. I hate seeing how flat my stomach is. I hate seeing my stomach at all. I feel like I failed to protect my baby. What if I hadn't tripped? It's been very hard for me to let go of this baby. I'm in therapy and my therapist is kind and patient. She has suggested that I think of ways I want to honor this child. She said it's healthy to not want to forget and move on, but I need to find a way to honor her and keep her memory alive that doesn't consume me. I definitely think she's right and have been looking at tattoo ideas and jewelry I can have made. My dad has a lawyer ready to help me with the divorce process, but I haven't filed. My mom cares a lot and keeps trying to suggest old childhood friends or her friends' sons for me to talk to and get my mind off things. I don't think I could ever be in a relationship again. I feel numb and broken and like a huge piece of me is missing. I have been working for the past 2 weeks and am planning on moving out. I feel like I'm burdening my parents with my problems. They fuss over me and are sometimes over the top sensitive. My brother was watching a movie where a character was giving birth, and they made him turn it off even though I wasn't in the room. I don't want to disrupt their lives and I feel so bad that they have to comfort me. I don't want to be hugged or constantly checked in on. I'm not trying to be ungrateful, I just feel like it all doesn't help. The random tight hug and, "Are you okay?" are constant reminders of what happened. I'm trying to keep going, I'm trying to do my best, but I feel so empty and unhappy. Sometimes I wish I had bled to death in that bathroom. Sometimes I wish I had left the blood and left him before he had the chance to abandon me. So many regrets and scenarios play out in my mind. I often feel my mind heavy with dark thoughts and think I'd be better off dead. It's tough, but I'm going to try to keep moving. My heart just feels so heavy all the time. Update 4. I am at a loss. The person I love was horrible and hurtful to me. I have not seen him or talked to him in months, but for some reason I can't stop feeling hurt. I think of him and my heart breaks all over again. I'm so ashamed to admit it, but I still love him. A part of me even misses him. I don't want to love him anymore, but I can't turn this off. Update 5. It's been a few months since my last update. I know I should have done better. I got a job, I went to therapy, I talked things out with my parents, I got my own place. I was working really hard. Somehow loneliness set in. My ex said he was grieving and in shock. Things didn't pan out properly, because he couldn't comprehend what was happening at the moment. He reacted poorly and regrets it. He said I left him grieving alone and chose to suffer alone too. It struck a chord. So I decided to see him. He looked like a wreck. I felt like crying though when I saw him. He said it was proof that I missed and loved him. We talked a lot, called more often. Texts throughout the day. He wants me to move back in. He wants to try repairing the relationship. I never got around to filing for the divorce. I didn't feel ready for it. My family kept encouraging me and sometimes I felt worked up for it, but I could never just go along with it. I don't know why I'm even talking to him. My parents will be disappointed if they found out. I miss him. I tried really hard to stop loving him and to think about something else. I followed some of the advice when I asked for help. I tried meeting people. I didn't feel a connection with anyone. Moving on is easier said than done. A big part of me wants to go back, wants to be safe and happy with him. Wants to believe things can be saved. I don't want to be alone. I also don't hate him. But I know his mom will be there. I know he messed up big time. I'm just so confused. My head and heart are saying different. In therapy, I feel like I want to prove that I'm healed and strong and doing okay. I kind of numb myself and say what I think will make the therapist happy. Do I have nightmares? Not anymore. Same with my parents, they want to see me socialize and smile more. You got it. But I can't fool myself. I am so sad and I don't want to deal with any of it. I can't successfully avoid it either. I'm staying away from alcohol. I don't want to go down any dark paths. But I wish all the time that I got a do-over. I came across a time machine, I didn't fall. I wish I got to have my baby. It broke my heart when my baby's due date came and then passed. No cute maternity pictures, no baby bump, no sweet baby in my arms, no beautiful cries of life. Maybe that's what has me flipped around. I feel so lost, I feel stuck. I can't get what I want, I can't move on. I thought I was making progress and I know I was a fraud the entire time. So many of you have offered a safe space for me to talk, but I don't know why I can't do it. I don't want to deal with any of it, it hurts too much. I want to be okay, I want to be me again. Maybe if I'm with him I'll find myself again. Update 6. I lost my mom, she had a brain aneurysm in her sleep. We didn't see it coming. I thought I had so much more time with her. I thought I'd open up to her eventually and she'd be there for me. I didn't consider that she could be gone. Life has been dark, my family has fallen apart. She was the pillar. I attempted and failed at taking my life. My dad didn't seem to care, he has an empty look to him. I had to receive inpatient care, they let me out after a few weeks. I lost my job. I just feel numb. I don't know who I am, or what I'm doing. Or if I'm worthy of anything good. If I deserve love or peace. If the lump in my throat will go away, I want to cry but can't. I thought the next time I'd post here, it was finally going to be a success story. That your anonymous support would pay off. Everything is dark. I feel so alone and lost. I can't talk to anyone, I just push them away.